IE 7.3 FM Charlotte, Amalia, Virgin Islands.
The views and opinions expressed on the following show are not necessarily the views and opinions of WHPS, its affiliates, management, or sponsors. You can have your own party on TV. Party with R.J. Watkins and the TV33 family when you hold your own Facebook watch party. Connect to the R.J. Watkins fan page at facebook.com/TV33WHPR. The one with the blue WHPR logo on the left. Like us. Videos with the red tag that says live next to it. Then click the share button at the bottom of the video player and select start a watch party. Invite whoever you want. Let's have a party.
Pick up your copy of Man Speaks magazine today. With the Son of Man Speaks magazine, you'll receive automotive tips, wholesome recipes, financial advice, and most importantly, a true understanding of God. Get your copy of the Son of Man Speaks from these select locations. 18070 Mount Elliott Station, 13110 West 7 Mile Road. To get a subscription, call 601-786-9788. That's 601-786-9788. The Son of Man Speaks magazine, dedicated to becoming free indeed.
SOS Graphic Design provides agency-quality professional graphic design services from established companies to startups and individuals. 342-2166 www.sosgraphicdesign.
Well, we're moving on now to the
Come check out the new Sisters Braid 2 hair braiding and natural hair care. 070 Mount Elliott Street. Our new salon is spacious with adequate parking, Wi-Fi, and all brand new state-of-the-art salon equipment. Come meet your local hair care specialist and check out our many hair care services such as hair treatments, box braids, cornrows, tree braids, Havana twists, children's braids. Please feel free to visit us on the web at www.call 313-826-0. Here at Sisters Braid 2, we offer exceptional care for exceptional help. Seeing you. Sisters Braid 2 is a proud recipient of the Unity and Rebuilding.
To invite you to help support the efforts of the Unity and Rebuilding site at www.unityandrebuildingfund.com. That's www.unityandrebuildingfund.com. We often hear how we need to work together and rebuild the city, and we're actually doing it. You can make online donations and click on links to of the Unity and Rebuilding Fund. And for more information, 313-866 is a local number. Again, 313-868-0000. Support the Unity and Rebuilding Fund.
Have you ever searched through a shelf full of greeting cards and still couldn't find the one that echoed how you felt? Well, search no more and call Designed by Deej. Birthday cards. Our cards are one-of-a-kind keepsake items that your recipient will want to place on their mantle with all of their other beautiful and treasured. We also offer holiday cards with Designed by Deej. Our unique greeting cards are sure to sell. We also have cards for special occasions. We are your one-stop shop for unique and three-dimensional occasions. We also take custom orders. Every card is crafted with care and made with love. So call Designs by Deej today at 601-4 or visit our website, www.com.
HD2.
You're watching WHPS, Highland Park, Detroit.
FM 97.1 WH Park, WVIE, Amalia, Virgin Islands.
Following show are not necessarily the views and opinions of WHPS, its affiliates, management, or sponsors.
Brothers and sisters, are you tired of reading the Holy Scripture and not really understanding what you read? Have you ever tested that what you feel you know? Then let's talk with one another. Then
Started.
Scriptural Discussion with the Son of Man every Wednesday at 9 p.m., Friday at 9 p.m., and Sunday at 12 noon on WHPR TV Detroit Live, 88.1 FM WHPR, and Comcast Cable. Why don't you call and discuss the Bible, and if you have one, the Holy Quran, and come to an agreement about the Holy Scriptures and their true meaning? You can call it live on the air at 313-868-4336, 313-868-0342, or 313-868-0351. That's 313-868-4336, 313-868-0342, or 313-868-0351. And now, let's go live with a scriptural discussion with the Son of Man.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, the Truthful, and the Most Just. I greet all of you who are hungry and thirsty for Allah. Thank you, baby. I greet you all with the greeting words of peace. May Allah's Salam Alaikum. I want to give those who have what they feel is a disagreement, which is facts that seem to disprove something that I teach. Heard taught by Nation of Islam. As the messenger, he told all of the members of the Nation of Islam, he said that you should be patient to wait on the Lord and don't try to run ahead. You will run into something that you can't put out of your way. So if you find yourself getting impatient, then pray to Allah to help you to be patient. Because he knew the only one that answers for what the body does, that gives the reasons why it's done and that kind of thing, is the head of the body. As you notice, Christ means anointed. If you look at every messenger of God, you know each messenger of God was anointed by God. And so collectively, they are the body of men that are called Christ. Collectively. When you refer to them individually, you call them the Christ. And because then someone will ask you, well, which one are you talking about? And then you can say, well, I'm talking about Jesus. Then another one say, well, I'm talking about Moses or David or Solomon. It's like when you say, bring me the book. If it's a whole lot of books over there, you say, well, which one? And then you name the talking about. Do you understand? You know. So, but when you call written material compiled in one measured amount, you call it book. said, what do you call material that's measured out in written form in a specific amount? You say, you call it book. Well, each one of everything in that library is a book. So you have to be specific about which book you want to check out. Do you understand? All right. So I want everybody that one at a time. We can't all, as the old saying go, we can sing together, but we can't all talk together. Got to all talk at one behind the other. Not everybody trying to talk at once. When you're singing, you can sing all together. Huh? Even the book says, and they sung as it were a new song. Do you understand? But when we speaking, then that shows you the respect that the word commands. One word at a time, one God at a time. Huh? There you go. So, to give those of you who think that we are teaching that which is not factual or that which is wrong, I want to give you that opportunity to point out your facts that prove us wrong. And then you can ask me for that check that I said I would write you for $50,000 out of the treasury of the new nation of Islam, which is my brothers and sisters' vest pocket. So, you know how you say the power vested in me when when a judge or especially you've heard people say that in the marriage when a minister or justice of the peace be marrying them, he said, and now by the power vested in me by the state of so and so, I pronounce you what? Husband and wife, right? Okay. Well, the vest pocket of my brothers and sisters is their bank account, the bank account of the new nation of Islam. And they vested their pocketbook, they vested it in the power over it to me, the purse. Just like you look at the treasurer of the United States. They appoint a treasurer of the United States. What's his title? What's his full title? Secretary of the Treasury. And he's got of the purse of the Treasury vested in him, by the United States government, which is the tax money of the people of the United States. Okay. So all of them, even those checks that they with the stimulus checks that people are getting, and those checks are signed by the Secretary of the Treasury. If he don't sign off on it, if his signature ain't on there, that check ain't no good. I assume that's whose signature is on there. If he's the Secretary of the Treasury, I'm pretty sure that his signature is on the check. Beg your pardon?
Secretary of Treasury is a woman, Janet Yellen.
Well, it don't make no difference. The title is Secretary of the Treasury. Now, whether it's a woman or a man, don't make no difference. They're still the Secretary of the Treasury. So, now it's Janet Yellen. Well, her name will be on there now. But it's just like when we pay the taxes, and I know we write checks for the taxes. All the checks that come through the account have my name scribbled on there. And it's made out to the tax assessor, who used to be Dudley Geist. Now the tax assessor is Samantha Jackson. So we make it out to Samantha Jackson, tax assessor. And that's just the way it is. And the people trusted their treasury of taxes into the hands. They vested that knowledge into the pocket, and whose vest pocket is trusted to Samantha Jackson. And so that's the way it is. I just wanted to explain to you why the messenger said he would, if you could prove him to be wrong, he said, I will give you $10,000 out of my brother's vest pocket. And if that's not enough, I'll make it 10,000 times 10,000. That's what he told him. And he meant it. And whatever he wanted to do with our money, I didn't even question. He just, whatever the messenger wanted to do, it was in his authority to do it. Because I'm going to tell you something. I had spent my whole life wasting money. Just wasting money. I have nothing to show for what I had did with all of the money that I had. Had nothing to show for it. I mean, when I was in the military, man, I subbed the away in one night. Wasn't no big thing to me. I mean, we didn't have to pay no rent. We didn't have no bills, no light bill, no what. Everything was taken care of. So, whatever money they paid us was gravy. And I ain't never thought too much about no money, no way. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught me some sense. When he called us the prodigal son, he was right. Prodigal means wasteful. And so I stopped being wasteful, thanks to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And so I don't waste none of the money that the few little followers I have give to me. I do not waste it. I'll hold on to it if I have to. I'll hold on to it till the eagles scream. But when it's necessary and it's going for something that's going to benefit, I don't never put a price tag on the good that I'm willing to do for my people. That's what I respect about Joe Biden. He and I, we cut from the same mold as far as that's concerned. The man ain't worrying about the price of helping American people. It's all about helping the American people. No price is too great when you love your people. Love money, then you let people die because you don't want to turn some money loose. That's what you got up in your government now. You better be glad that you got. Now, I'll grant you. I'll say the Democrats ain't been perfect. But you cannot accuse the Democratic Party of being as low down as them Republicans. I should say them rhinos. Because there was a time when, as I remember in my lifetime, there was a time when I didn't think it made no difference who was the majority in the Congress. Because they worked so well together that it didn't make no difference. They all respected one another and they loved one another to a degree. Didn't you hear Joe Biden when he was eulogizing John McCain? He talked about how they would argue and go on with each other and then go out to lunch together and that kind of thing. And they come back and they would maybe disagree on certain things, But as he said, I love John McCain. These people have lost their minds. I've been trying to help you to come to yourself, but I don't think this seemed to be the fulfillment of Humpty Dumpty. Same can no matter how we try, can't get you to get back together and be brothers to each other. All the king's horses and all the king's men, all of the holy scriptures, no matter which one I quote, no matter how I keep on reminding you of what the messengers of God taught, you don't give a damn. You sit up and pretend that you love the word of God and love Jesus. You just I love Jesus lie. And you who claim to love Muhammad, you are I love Muhammad lie. All of you a bunch of murderers, a bunch of bullies who would murder a man because he don't agree with you. Just like right now, the whole world's starting to see what we've been suffering for 450 years. Let me let you see something here. I'm gonna stop it when brothers say the magic word.
The individual sitting on the ground, do you recall seeing him from when you were parked behind the Mercedes before?
Correct.
Where was that individual when you were parked behind the vehicle?
He was in the driver's seat.
So that's the same individual that in the prior video had been removed from the driver's seat. And did you see while you were moving the car how those two officers and that individual went from the Mercedes in the prior video to where they are now?
Correct.
How did that happen?
They brought him out, walked him over to the sidewalk, sat him down. One officer then went over to the other people that was in the vehicle and started asking them questions.
And then the other officer had the driver sit on the ground there where we see him now?
Correct.
All right. So then we'll continue to play Exhibit 36, please.
I must say something right here. I want to remind you that in the United States of America, the justice system is declared to be transparent. In other words, when people are on trial, in order for the American people to trust the justice system, the founders said that all trials should be held in public view. Do you understand? So don't come out here to they trying this case in the media. No, that is the way the justice system of America works, so that everybody that is watching of the public will determine for themselves whether or not justice was served. Do you understand? And you know, when you have a system, it's just like with me. I learned to do that with my meetings. Even Jesus, when they came after him, he told them when they was come out like they was after a thief or something, he said, everything that I have said, I said it publicly. Why you come out after me like a thief or something? I haven't said nothing in secret. Likewise, this proceeding is going on. All of us are getting a chance. If you want to, you can watch it. I didn't hear you. Do you know the importance of that? What the importance of that is? The importance of it is to establish trust. The importance of it is to, you saw what happened on January the 6th. The reason that looked so out of place was because when you looked at what those people, those rioters, those insurrectionists did at the Capitol, transparency dictates that they had no reason to be up there doing that. Not justifiable. Huh? It wasn't the government that was abusing them or something like that. Nobody was abusing them. They tried to overthrow a lawful elected president and install a dictator. In other words, this was their answer to the South will rise again. And hey, yeah, that's why they was all so upset about all of these Confederate flags and monuments being taken down. Look at, I'm right here in Mississippi. I ain't hiding from you. Come in here and justify flying the Confederate flag in the United States. Come in here and tell us why you should be allowed to fly that flag in this country. When if that flag had won the day, there wouldn't be no United States of America. You're a bunch of damn cowards. That's what you are. Took a lot of bravery to go up there with your crowd after a bunch of unarmed congressmen and women to call yourself going to overthrow and block them doing the job that been being done for 200 years. And you knew their police officers were civilized. They weren't going to have nobody like this Derek Chauvin up there at the Capitol building. A bloodthirsty coward. No, they had officers of the peace. They had officers there that took their oath seriously. You went up there and showed your natural ass. Anyway, so don't listen to people try to come tell you that, well, this trial is being tried in the public. All hearings in the United States, people have a right to a public hearing so that you can't get them in there and lynch them. If the evidence you have is true, is truthful, then you don't care if everybody hear it and everybody see it. And that's what makes people in the country, whatever country it is, that has public hearings and let the public see that how justice is being meted out, and whether justice is being meted out. That's why all of them sycophants that's out there talking about Donald Trump and all of them, we need to just move on past that. No, you don't need to move on past nothing. The people need to see that justice applies to everybody. Even that old low-down Mitch McConnell, Allah forced him to say, well, Donald Trump ain't got away with it yet. Huh? That was his way of saying, even though he may have voted to not impeach, he knew Donald Trump was guilty. And a lot of them sitting up there voting to it was helping him, including Mitch McConnell. See, out of your own mouth comes your condemnation. If somebody had got away with what? You just said he wasn't guilty of nothing. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get back to this. You know, something was always puzzling me about this. As I was listening to the tape where George Floyd was pleading with them, especially with Derek Chauvin. He said, "I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, man." What, I wondered, what was that about? If I don't come back to that, you remind me to come back to it.
So Exhibit 36 has ended, and you stopped filming at that moment?
Yes, sir.
And why did you stop recording that?
Slightly still kind of scared, nervous.
That's the magic word. He stopped recording, and he's going to tell you why, because he was scared. Scared of what? Watch this now. Now, these is people that's supposed to be protecting and serving the community, right? Then what was he scared of? I'll show you in a minute.
One of the officers kept staring at me like while I was recording. So I kind of put it down, and then I went to...
Now, a lot of you say, well, he's a coward. No, he's not no coward. I told you we've been living under terrorism for 400 and some years over here. These people, if you question what y'all stopping him for, officer, or whatever, get back over there or we'll arrest you for interfering with an officer in the performance of his duty. That's the kind of stuff they pull on us. Now, we are not a people who, Allah didn't put us over here to learn how to make improvised explosive devices, IEDs. He didn't put us over here to learn warfare of the kind that this white man got, to go and shed people's blood. He didn't put us over here. He didn't let us wind up in the lap of these people for that. He let us, the seed of Abraham, fall into the lap of the devil so we could experience being under totally wicked people. Because as I told you, when we, wait a minute, any white folks got something they want to say to me about that? I say white people because it's them we've been under. See, I don't like to talk at people. I like to talk to people. Now, 66 trillion, I didn't say million, I didn't say billion. Now, I said trillion. It takes 1,000 million to make 1 billion. And it takes 1,000 billion to make 1 trillion. And once you get 1 trillion, multiply that times 66. 66 trillion years ago. We hadn't even thought about making white people or brown people or yellow people. Wasn't nobody here but black people. And black people were rebellious and rebelling against what is right. They rebelled against God. And if you read the Bible and properly understand it, God wanted them to all speak one language. And they were rejecting that. And so since they would not submit so that he could bring unity among us, he decided to destroy everything, the earth and everything. And as the messenger said, but him being the creator and being God, he couldn't destroy himself even if he wanted to. But he drilled halfway to the center of the earth, to the core, halfway to it, and he packed it full of high explosive, as the messenger said, dynamite that was much more powerful than anything they got today. These hydrogen bombs and stuff look like little firecrackers compared to what we had learned to make. And I mean, if you learned how to do that in 6,000 years, what do you think we learned over trillions of years? Man, your little explosive don't cut nothing with us. So anyway, He packed it full of high explosives. And remember, the scripture says God said to the wickedness of man. Let's read it. It's over in Genesis. It says men began to multiply on the earth. And this is the 6th chapter of Genesis. It says, and God, that's the 5th verse. And God saw that the wickedness of man, what man? He didn't say mankind, he said man, black man. The wickedness of man was great in the earth. And that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented the Lord that he had made, and it repented the Lord that he had made man a ruler on the earth. And it grieved him at his heart, hurt him to his heart. You know, we got an old saying, that's how I talk, you know. That hurt me to my heart, hurt him to his heart, huh? And it says, and the Lord said, I will destroy man, whom I have taught from the face of the earth. I will destroy man whom I to create is to teach. You notice that somebody is talking to you, especially teaching you, they are creating thoughts in your mind that you never had before. Is that right? Then it says, and the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth. Both man, now you understand why a little knowledge is dangerous, huh? Both man and beast, and the creeping things, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me. I'm sorry I made them. Huh? It repenteth me that I have made them. But Noah, now there you go. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. These are the generations of Noah. Noah found grace, an extension of time, because Noah, he wasn't wicked. He hadn't surrendered to that kind of way of thinking. As it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in whose day. You remember I invited people to come in here and point out the evil that I have done to them. How come nobody showed up? No, don't accuse me of being part of your world. I ain't never been part of your world. I just been living in it. I was in it, but I ain't never really been of it. I told you, it's just like that song. When that is that all there is. I experienced all of this stuff, and I went into your parties and all of the stuff that everybody seemed to get so much joy out of. And I get in there and discover that this, what's all the big deal about this? This ain't nothing. So wasn't no white people here. It was just black people. And God told Noah what he was going to do. He said, you see that ocean out there? When I get through, I'm going to drown all these people. I'm going to drop that whole ocean on them. The Holy Quran bears witness. It says, and the water gushed forth from the valley. You do know that an ocean is a valley full of water, right? Now, how do you drop a valley full of water on people? How do you drop a bucket of water on somebody? Don't you have to lift it up, then turn it over? The moon's still rotating, turning over and over and over. That's why you see different stages of it. Because it's a piece of the earth. It's not a sphere. It's a disc with a convex and concave surface on it. You see. So you got a lot to learn. But anyway, you notice ain't none of your scientists coming in here calling themselves arguing with me. I remember when I was in school, they had the moon as a sphere. The moon ain't no sphere. It's a disc. Why you think every time it get full, it's the same face you see? You don't never see no face but the one face of it. But anyway, so we remembered the moon being put out there, and for a long time, black people were so humble. And he got them to speak one language too. Let me show you. It says, and let me find it. I know how to find it. We like to prove what we say. We don't like to just say something and don't give you no proof of it. Okay, in chapter 11, it says, and even before that, let me see here. What'd you say? This is the after the flood. In that first verse, it says, and the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And did God do what he wanted to do? I didn't hear you. Yeah. Oh, yeah, now you're talking my language. That's what he said. Now, once he got them to speak in one language, he discovered it's going to be harder than he thought. Do you understand? Because even then they start, the rebelliousness in them, that start coming back. It's just like right now. You notice you teach your child a little bit. You teach him just a little bit. Next thing you know, he rebelling. To my, I can do it. And he can't do it. But he think he can do it. Huh? And then you have to put something on him to make him let you teach him some more. Is that right? A little knowledge is what? It's dangerous. It makes you hasty. Well, that's all you can be is hasty when you don't have but a little knowledge. You are hasty because you don't have much going on up there, so it don't take you long to make a judgment about something because you don't have a lot of knowledge and understanding in your head to deliberate on. So you are hasty. We created man in haste. Huh? Okay. Now let's go on and get at the truth here. Now, this man, we have been living under these wicked slave-making people that terrorized us from babies. Some of us didn't even know or understand why we felt always uncomfortable when white people came around us. But that was something they put in us. Fear. You saw the brother, he said, and they looked over there at him, he stopped filming it. Huh? That 17-year-old didn't stop filming it, though. You remember that one? Something else going on now. Allah, the Spirit of Allah is moving through not only us, but moving through every human being on the earth. And Allah is removing the fear to speak out. This is the day. This is a day. The Sabbath day is a day and time wherein truthful people will profit from their truth. Huh? Which means liars are going to be punished for their lies. You hear me? But you see this brother? He's taking a stand. He's very honest about it, ain't he? I stopped because they was looking over there at me. Huh? You see what we have suffered? He had all the guns. All we had was our wits. And that's what Allah wanted us to do, is use our wits. Learn to think your way out of things instead of like a beast trying to fight your way out. If you strong enough, you can overcome somebody. Well, what about when somebody's stronger than you come on? Then you back in slavery again. I didn't hate. Or even worse, you may decide you want to be a slave maker. Let me tell you something. When Yaqub got ready to make white folks, it wasn't no white folks, but it was a bunch of lazy, trifling black people that wanted other people to work for them. Them is the people who followed Yaqub. Do you hear me? So, all you have to do is get a message to the black man. It's in there. Read it. I'm not saying nothing that you can make a lie out of. It's all truth. Now, let's look at this again.
I was like, I really don't want any problems, so I stopped recording.
Has ended, and you stopped filming at that moment?
Yes, sir.
And why did you stop recording that?
Slightly still kind of scared, nervous. One of the officers kept staring at me like while I was recording. So I kind of put it down, and then I went to record again, but I was like, I really don't want any problems, so I stopped recording.
At that point, did you think?
If they wasn't doing nothing, they didn't have no business, you wouldn't even have to think that it would have been a problem. Huh? What was they saying to George Floyd instead? They had him handcuffed. What was they still over there just talking to him about instead of taking him, since you done arrested the man? Why didn't they go put him in the car? And what was they saying to him in that car? All of them had body cameras on, didn't they? How come we don't hear none of the conversation that was going on between them and George Floyd? Remind me to get back to that.
This incident with this individual and the officers was over?
Somewhat I've seen, when I stopped recording, I drove towards the corner as they crossed over with George, the two officers that came and approached him in the first place. They went to walk him across the street. Then when we went to turn to go back home, we seen them placing him in the police car. So that's all I seen, and I kept on driving. I thought he was detained. I thought it was over, so I kept on going home.
You referred to George.
Yes.
Who do you mean by that?
I felt that George was detained.
Okay. So when you use the name George, this individual who was removed from the SUV, the Mercedes, did you know that gentleman?
No, not at all.
Have you subsequent to this learned who that was?
Yes, sir.
Was that George Floyd?
Yes, sir.
All right. So you saw them moving Mr. Floyd after you stopped recording?
Right, yes, sir.
So,
Now, in this part, the district attorney there, I mean, I guess he doing the best he can, and I appreciate that. But I mean, like when he asked him that was all about making sure that people wasn't thinking that this man sitting up here, he know George and he gonna stand up for George. No, he didn't know George Floyd. He established that George Floyd was a stranger to him. Do you understand? Okay. Now let's go on.
put Exhibit 1 back up, please. And if you would, again, show the jurors, where you saw them. Well, if you would just put an X on here where you were parked when you made that second video. Do you know what I mean? Should we try again? Okay. And then if you would, show the jurors where you saw them walking Mr. Floyd after you stopped recording.
And walking this way.
And so then at some point you started up your car and drove off out of the area.
Correct.
And can you show the jurors where you drove when you did that? And so the record should reflect you turned from 38th Street to go what would be southbound on Chicago. Right? And the record should also reflect that you're indicating the officers walking Mr. Floyd from the Dragon Walk corner, what would be northbound on Chicago, correct?
Correct.
Towards the Cup Food store.
Correct.
Now, when you turned and went south on Chicago, had they already walked Mr. Floyd in front of you over to that, or did you cut in front of them? Do you know what I mean?
I believe they already crossed. I'm not sure, to tell you the truth. It was a while ago. I'm not sure if it was before or after, tell you the truth.
But at one point you said earlier that you saw them putting him in a squad car.
Right.
Where did you see that taking place?
Over here.
So when you turned to go southbound, is that when you looked
Behind us. Yeah.
Okay. So when you turned to go southbound, is that when you looked
Behind us. Yeah.
Okay. And then have anything else to do with that scene that night?
Nope. That's it.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Any comments?
Sir, you may step down. Thank you.
All that was a pretense for show. They wanted that man to hurry up and get off the stand. What was he going to ask him? Huh? Wasn't nothing else to ask him. Okay. Now watch this.
Excuse me, Senator.
Yes.
You have someone here with the screen name Better With Time, and she says they played the body cam footage today.
Did they play the body cam footage of when he was in there and when they had him in the car before they took him back out? You see, don't play games with me. I know what I was asking for. What was said to George Floyd while they all had him in the car and then pulled him back out? Matter of fact, full transparency should be every sound, every conversation that they was having with him. Because he's dead now. He can't speak for himself. That's why I say, what I know we still dealing with white people. And even though the DA is he's doing what he is doing, it's a whole lot more could have been done and would have been done if this was a white man that had been murdered. And the charge sure wouldn't be just no second degree, even though second degree can get you 40 years, according to what I looked up on. But the fact of the matter is, that man murdered that man right in front of the whole world. Just a moment.
Sidebar?
In the lunch break, that's into an end, and what led to his run-in with police that day. They presented never-before-seen surveillance video of Floyd inside the cup foods before the police were called. The footage shows him buying a pack of cigarettes. We also heard from Christopher Martin. He's the store clerk who sold him those cigarettes and who suspected the $20 bill that Floyd used to pay was counterfeit.
I just saw a few people at first, and then the crowd grew larger, and pretty soon the store was empty as well, so there was no one that I needed to help inside the store, so then I proceeded to go outside and see what was happening.
And when you went out there, what did you see?
I saw people yelling and screaming. I saw Derek with his knee on George's neck on the ground.
Martin also testified seeing Floyd loaded into an ambulance. What he felt was about to happen. And let me see if we have that bite.
Did you think that bill may not be legitimate?
I did.
So what did you decide to do?
I took it anyways, and I was planning to just put it on my tab until I second guessed myself. And as you can see in the video, I kept examining it, and then I eventually told my manager.
All right. And when you told your manager, what happened next? What were you told to do?
He told us to go out to the vehicle and to ask him to come inside to discuss what just happened.
We saw you standing there with your hands on your head for a while, correct?
Correct.
What was going through your mind during that time period?
Disbelief and guilt.
Okay. Why guilt?
I would have just not taken the bill. This could have been avoided.
So that was testimony, and you can hear there from, and that was easily the most riveting of the morning. Shaquille Brewster is covering the trial for us on the ground in Minneapolis. I'm also joined, as I said earlier, Tuli.
Now the young man say he felt guilt because, in so many words, I mean, if he hadn't taken the bill, that none of that would have happened. And that's his way of saying and dead on a humbug, on something that shouldn't have been about nothing. Huh? A supposedly counterfeit $20 bill. The officers that came up there, according to what they've been saying, that's a misdemeanor. What was they pulling their guns out for? And cussing at the man. And why was, when he was on the ground, was he saying, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, man. Sorry for what? What was they talking about in that van, in that squad car, before they brought him back out, put him on the ground, and murdered him?
Sir, excuse me.
What?
The sister and somebody else are saying that they played every scene today.
You keep lying. If they played it, I just asked, what was they talking about in the van? If it was on there today, then tell me where at on YouTube I can find it so I can play it. Don't be calling her a sister. I don't hear that. My sisters and brothers are those that will not lie to me. Let me see. Give me a minute here. Officers recording of conversation with George Floyd in squad car. Let's see what comes up. What did they say? What was they saying to him in that? Let me pull up this version. It says video appears to show George Floyd in struggle in police vehicle. Why did he start a struggle in the police vehicle? What was they saying to him? Let's see.
Now, security video of what happened moments earlier appears to show a struggle in the backseat of a police vehicle. On live television, the police chief spoke directly to the Floyd family for the first time about the inaction of those officers as Floyd was dying.
You notice?
Being silent or not intervening to me.
Remember, he was quiet walking over there. When they put him in the squad vehicle, we ain't heard no conversation about that. No, you come in here lying, talking about they played all of this stuff. Now, you do that again, I'm going to cast you in the hell. You're ungrateful little whelp. Getting sick of you all who always trying to cover up and mess over the black man. Grinning up in our face while you hate us. You just wait. You're gonna one day wish that all that was in you and every evil thought you had and every wrong way you thought about me, you're going to wish that the distance between you and that thought was the distance between the east and the west. Beg your pardon? Unmute him. As long as it ain't now one of them hidden numbers. I told you, kick him out of here.
Excuse me, son of man.
I'm here.
Assalamu alaikum.
May wa alaikum Allah salam.
Son of man, I was listening to it on the Washington Post channel, and when they were putting him into the car, they didn't tell him why. They were just telling him to get in the car. And he kept saying, hey, I'm claustrophobic. I don't want to just get in the car. I'm claustrophobic. They kept telling him to be quiet and get in the car.
Well, the thing is, after he was handcuffed, he knew he was under arrest. Now that is the thing. I'm trying to figure out what made them bring him back out of the car. If they had him in the car, the back seat, I assume they got a cage in that thing, and they could just close the door and take him on down to the precinct.
From what it showed, he was trying to, they kind of had laid him down, and he was trying to, from what it appeared, to get out still because...
No, ma'am. That officer had closed that one door there. I just saw him close one door on him. All he had to do was close the other door. And no matter what George was trying to do, he couldn't have got out.
That is true. Yeah, but he did go around.
No, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear it. Because this is something that just never made no sense to me. Since when 4 officers couldn't put him in there and take him to jail? They could put him on the ground and choke the life out of him. And if all they was interested in was arresting him, when he stopped moving or when he passed out, they could have picked him up, put him in the car, and let him come to in the back seat. So, no, I know it's some missing pieces to that puzzle. And I think I know what they are. I remember once I was, when I was selling fish, and the Firestone police pulled us over. Now we didn't have none of them, what you call refrigerator trucks with the self-contained freezers in them. Now we had frozen whiting fish that the messenger had imported and made jobs for us to go out selling fish. And so we would plug, we put freezers, them kind of like the kind they have in ice cream, you know, the hand scoop ice cream, that freezer with the top deals on it, with the them old type freezers with them compartments them 4 lids that you can just lift up and fold down and fold out. Well, anyway, we would plug them in at night and get them real cold and with the fish in it, leave it in there. And then we could go out all day with the fish and it would just stay frozen in there. And the Firestone police pulled us over once and pretended to be running a make on us and kept us standing around there with that, you know, without knowing that fish was in there. They knew how we didn't have no refrigerated trucks there, vans. Our vans were just regular vans with freezers that you had to plug up in. And so They kept us there. It was in the middle of summer. And I mean, it just, we knew what they was doing. And so I looked at one of the officers and I said, Allah is God, Muhammad is his messenger, and you certainly the devil. And he looked at me. He was white. He looked back at me and said, and he grabbed my shirt pocket with his finger and pulled it and let it go. And he said, that's right. And you gonna always be the devil's slave. And he looked at me and told me that. And I told him, I said, well, we'll see about that. And so not long after that, they let us go on about our business. And when I got back there, some of the brothers were talking about I was provoking the devil. How am I provoking the devil? And he provoking us. But anyway, so, you know, and at that time, I didn't know I was the Son of Man. But it's a whole lot. As the Holy Quran says, surely he sees you from whence you see them not. I had also had a Caucasian sergeant look at me and tell me, he said, you know the war's on, don't you? And I said, I do now. I didn't know what he was talking about. But, you know, it's like, you know, I mean, they've been seeing me. I just didn't see them. But now we see each other. And I'm warning you. I'm warning all of you. If you can't help me and won't help me to help my people, you better leave me alone. I want you to also know that I can cast you into hell and you don't even know I did it. This is for all of you who think that I got to say it to you. I could do it quietly in my mind. You're going to understand why the book says, let the Lord be your fear and let him be your dread. Now, to give you justice, let me show you something here. Everybody that think I'm not the Lord, one at a time, unmute your phone and tell me what you think I am. See, I'm not like you. I don't run from people that disagree with me. I face them. And I want to know why you disagree with me. Where is your basis for disagreeing with me? Even while they was choking the man and he wasn't moving, they was talking about get up and get in the van, trying to make you and I think that he was holding himself down. They choking the life out the man, telling him, go get up and get in the van then. Get up and get in the van. What did they tell him they was about to do to him? When they was in that van and nobody was recorded, they were saying something to him that had him upset. And why was he saying, I'm sorry, man, I'm sorry, man. I can't breathe, I can't breathe. You know, I'm sick and tired of all of this injustice that we receiving at the hands of people who we haven't did an atom's weight of harm to. We wasn't even in a position to do you no harm. You got all of the weapons. You have all of the power. You make all of the laws. And yet you accuse us of being some kind of threat to you. You even came and stole us out of our country and brought us here. Since when did we become a threat to you? Okay, let's see some more. Oops, excuse me. Looking at the wrong one here.
Listen, Mr. Floyd died in our hands, and so I see that as being complicit.
That acknowledgement left Floyd's brother sobbing.
He died at their hands. Huh? They literally choked the life out of him. Let's get back over here to this other thing. Look, I'm not going to belabor this. What I'm going to do now is show you the missing pieces of the puzzle. Remember, I asked why was George Floyd apologizing? Let me see here. Now tell me something. You notice he was saying, "I'm sorry, man." He didn't say, "I'm sorry, officer." He said, "I'm sorry, man." Huh? You know why he was saying that? Well, let me show you why.
This news is learning more about a possible connection between George Floyd and the former police officer charged with second-degree murder in his death. David Penny, a co-worker of Floyd and Derek Chauvin at a Minneapolis nightclub, told our Jeff Pegues the two had a history, he said, when they worked security.
What kind of history? They bumped heads. How? It has a lot to do with Derek being extremely aggressive within the club with some of the patrons, which was an issue.
Jeff Pegues joins us now from Minneapolis with more on this part of the story. Jeff, what else are we learning about this?
Well, good morning, Gail. David Penny and many others are aware of George Floyd and Derek Chauvin working at the same time at this nightclub. Chauvin was on the outside working a detail, and then George Floyd worked on the inside. Now, Penny, as you noted, was a co-worker also working on that security detail, and he told me that the two men butted heads. He also described Chauvin as being, in his words, aggressive toward minority customers. Now, Penny also tells me that the manager of the club would hand out paychecks to the security staff on the inside, people like George Floyd. And it was then their job to then pay the outside staff, people like Derek Chauvin. And in one occasion, according to David Penny and another person we talked to, Chauvin took issue with how much he was being paid and blamed George Floyd, who had handed him the check. All right, so they had a beef, in your view, at least one time over money.
Exactly, but it's not George's responsibility of where he receives his pay for moonlight. That's the manager's job from the club.
But Derek took it out on George.
Exactly, is what I understand. At the time, yes.
because he took it out against me, and I actually made him leave the club. I had to make him leave the club.
So is there any doubt in your mind that that Monday, Derek didn't know who George was?
I'd say he knew him.
You think he knew who George was?
Yes.
Any doubt in your mind that he knew who George was?
No. No doubt in my mind. He knew exactly who George was.
So we also spoke with the club owner, who said that she was not aware of any payroll issues, but she also described Derek Chauvin as being aggressive toward minority customers. And there is another issue. She said that, she didn't want to complain to the police department about Chauvin's behavior because she felt if she complained, she would get someone worse than Derek Chauvin, because in her words, Chauvin was one of the good cops in the precinct.
Didn't I tell you that and I'm saying it in front of you, white people, you put all of them beasts and low-down murderous people, you put a uniform on them and you put them in the black community. You give them carte blanche to police the black community. In other words, to go in there and terrorize the black community. Didn't you hear the young man say, and he wasn't no real young man, he said that he was filming it, and the police looked over there at him and he stopped filming. Huh? Why? You saw white people on the 6th of January try to overthrow the government, and they wasn't afraid to film themselves doing that and film the police that they was beating up. I am sick of you. Now, unmute your phone and tell me you sick of me. Now you know why George was saying, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, man. What was they saying to him? What did Derek Chauvin say to him in that car, in that squad car? And the rest of them heard it. We know what it finally added up to. It added up to his foot being on his neck and they holding him down. And while holding him down, telling him, get up and get in the van. Get up and get in the vehicle. Get up and get in the vehicle. Trying to make it sound like George Floyd was refusing to get up when they wasn't letting him get up. That was just for show. For the camera. But it was other cameras on them too. Showing that if George Floyd had wanted to get up, he couldn't. And if Derek Chauvin knew George, George knew him. Huh? That's why he was saying, I'm sorry, man. He wasn't saying, I'm sorry, officer. He said, I'm sorry, man. That's the way you talk to people that you know. I ain't never been out on the highway and get stopped by a highway patrolman and call him man. But when I got to know some of the officers around here, just like that brother that I still, he was a jewel as far as I was concerned. Officer Minor. You remember Officer Minor? Always courteous, always just you know, if I was speeding and he stopped me, I just don't take my ticket and go on about my business. I wasn't finna say nothing because I knew I was speeding. I stopped speeding, thanks to him. But anyway, he passed away. But now with him, I would say, "Hey man, how you doing?" Or whatnot, because I knew him. But when other black officers or whatever, if they pull me over, I didn't say, "Hey man, what's that?" I say, "Yes, sir, officer." Period. Because that's how you're supposed to address them. That is, I mean, if you ask one and they say officer, period. Why do you say officer? It's so you don't get too familiar. So that you don't get disrespectful, to realize that, look, that's his street out there. That's his beat. He's on his post. Respect him on his post. Because one of the general orders is to allow no one to make a nuisance or to create a nuisance on or near my post. Huh? So you show people respect. But Derek Chauvin knew George Floyd, and this was his opportunity to do to him what he had been wanting to do to him. Otherwise, why was George saying, "I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, man"? And Derek Chauvin didn't say a word. He just kept his knee on his neck. Yes. Unmute them. One at a time. May wa alaikum ala salam.
Brother Man, I just wanted to mention that the one thing that was said in the squad car from the officer was clear, very clear, was set up. And then there was some other, where you couldn't just really make out what else was said. They started telling him he was a big man in the squad car.
Well, I'm going to tell you something.
He was in the squad car on the floor at that time.
Let me tell you something. Once they had him in their back seat, whether he sit up or laid down, they could have closed that door and took him on downtown.
Yes, sir, I agree.
I don't want to hear all this sit up or whatever. Once he got the handcuffs on and you put him in the squad car, you slam the door and take him down there and book him. If that's what you're going to do. Anyway, yes, unmute. I mean, this ain't no talk show now. Unless somebody got something contrary, what is it?
Son Man, I just wanted to say this. When the voice was saying, "Get up, man, get up, get in the car," was the older gentleman who was testifying today. He was the one that was saying, "Get up and get in the car."
Well, all of them was complicit. Well, the old man that was saying, "Get up and get in the car." See, they thought his vantage point wasn't to see that they was holding the man down. Obviously. But I know one thing. They want to keep on doing this kind of stuff? Well, okay. Ice is still melting up there, and there's a lot of viruses in that ice. There's a lot of treasures that's up in that ice that you don't know about. Hosts that you can't see. And the scientists, you saw the head of the CDC say she's scared? What you think she's scared of? Okay. All right. You remember I warned you about picking fights? Didn't I tell you don't never pick a fight with somebody who got more sense than you? You've been around here for 6,000 years and you done got pretty smart, so you think. You think the black man been on this earth for over 78 trillion years? And that we haven't learned how to protect ourselves on it? You think we didn't learn nothing about genetics? Okay. You started it. Okay. Just remember that. One other thing I want to give you. I want you to hear something here from this. It's the whole world is starting to wake up. To what we have been trying to tell you ever since the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was here about our suffering. You're gonna hear it from somebody else. I mean, it's just like the Spanish American community. I've had nothing but good experiences with them. When we were selling fish, if it hadn't been for the Spanish people, we probably wouldn't have sold no fish hardly. But they used to patronize us, and when we went in their communities, we didn't feel unsafe. Me and Brother Albert used to go all over East LA and out in Redlands and in El Camino and all them places where Spanish Americans was. They even taught me how to speak a little Spanish. They was always so hospitable and kind. I mean, they are industrious people. I remember people used to just like this brother that was in when the 64 Chevelles came out. He went to Tijuana. You could go to Tijuana and get tuck and roll seats and button tuck. You could get what you call it, that paint with the glycerin in, with the glitter in it, metallic, metal flake paint jobs. You could get lifts, hydraulic lifts, and all that. I used to marvel over how Spanish Americans could just do so many things, man. And but anyway, the things that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was teaching us that we should do, I saw this. They was doing it. 2 or 3 families living in a house, saving their money and buying property and things. I mean, I just admired them. I still admire them. But anyway, I want you to see that the whole world waking up to the truth now. That we ain't been lying on white people. You don't hear no white people coming in here telling me I'm lying on them. And it ain't because they white. Master Farad Muhammad got white skin. His mother was white. But she was a Muslim. She was a righteous woman. That's all Muslim mean, a righteous person. Why do I say it like that? Even before there was any scriptures, Abraham was called righteous simply because He trusted God and would obey whatever God told him to do. And that was accounted to him as righteousness. Anyone who is willing to do what Allah wants done, you are considered righteous. Even though you ain't got it yet. You ain't been taught it yet. But as long as you were willing, as the book says, blessed are they that do hunger and thirst after righteousness in a world full of evil, for they shall be filled with righteousness. Now, watch this.
Chauvin worked as a security guard club in Minnesota, and we're actually learning that the victim in this case, George Floyd, also worked as a security guard. Recently, the press spoke to the owner of the nightclub, and we've learned a little more about who Chauvin is, but more importantly, what the police officers in the area are like when they work as security guards at her nightclub. Take a look.
Noticed that he got very anxious when there was an urban night where there were a lot of African-American people, as did many other officers. He was certainly not the only one.
What did he do? How did he act?
Well, really, it's systemic because it started all the way from licensing and went through the third precinct, and then was an expression of also how the officers reacted when they were there. I would just kind of characterize it as skittish. So they would get very nervous very quickly and want to pull out the pepper spray with any little thing that might happen, and they certainly acted very kind of group mentality. They always had to call backup if a little tiny thing happened. So it was different than what we saw on our Latin nights.
I mean, I'm not surprised.
A bunch of cowardly, racist dogs. You can't recite no time in the history of America where black people were terrorizing white people. Then how did we become public enemy number one? We have been the object of terrorism. As that young man said, he stopped filming because they looked at him. Huh? That young lady that was filming, she didn't stop filming because she didn't understand how wicked and how deadly that fella was with his knee on George Floyd's neck. She didn't know the history of white people, especially people like Derek Chauvin. But that brother know. We go way back. We know. What do you think they mean when they say teach that nigga a lesson? Teach that nigga to be scared of us. That's what he mean. Now watch this. Now I think one of these sisters is a Chicano, but listen to her.
I'm glad that we have more people coming out and talking about who this cop was as a person.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've been saying it for 2 days. This guy had 18 complaints against him. So it's the system that knows who he is. Was he taken off the street? Nope. I don't.
No. Them is the ones they put in the black community. I gave you the solution to all of this systemic racism. You ain't gonna get rid of it. So I tell you what you do. I told you, let black officers join the force and patrol the black community. And let white officers patrol the white community. I bet you would take all of them beasts and them coward, bloodthirsty fellas off of the force when it comes to patrolling your community. I say to all of my people, you who look like me, for all people are my people, but you who look like me, black skin, unmute your phone and tell me why you don't follow me. I know why. Now, I want you to come in here and tell the truth. Now, why you don't follow me? Why you won't join with me and follow me? You can't find no fault in what I'm telling you that we should be doing. So why you don't join with me? Oh, you don't want to tell it? You remind me of people who try to go and think that you can get generic everything. You know, they got medicine that you can get this name brand that's used, and then they got a generic brand, right? It ain't quite the same thing, but it'll suffice. The pharmacist said it'll suffice. That's how you do religion. You go around and you find, look at you done found this generic Islam. You done found generic religion. Long as you can keep doing what you've been doing and call yourself a Muslim, you don't mind. But when you got to change, then you got a problem with that one. Ain't nobody gonna tell me how to live my life. Well, that's what Islam is about. Islam is telling us all how to live our lives. And guess who's doing the talking? The Creator. He tells us how we should live our lives and then gives us a choice. Do it my way or your way. Doing it your way is what's got this stuff going up, like Derek Chauvin and all these people. That's doing things your way. It's like this so-called black militias and whatnot. You just a bunch of black suicidal people to show you how dumb you really are. To think that you can pick up a weapon that white people sold you to go and kill white people with it. Well, if that ain't the dumbest thing I ever heard of. And look at you. Now, you just heard me say that's about the dumbest thing I ever heard of, and you who doing it ain't even coming in here explaining to me why it ain't dumb. I mean, I you know, any brother or sister that's been in the military will tell you you was a dummy. You don't know nothing about no warfare. The white man is a scientist at that kind of warfare. You run around here thinking with some little rocks in your pocket about you a militia. You ain't nothing but a suicidal, foolish man. You better get behind me. While you still have a sane mind to be able to recognize foolhardiness from wisdom. But listen to these. Listen to them talking about this stuff that happened to us.
Is in essence the system saying we don't have a problem with a guy who gets 18 complaints, and it's not just about him. That sends a message to all the other cops. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We'll get your back. You do anything to those people because they don't matter. And so, is anyone on planet Earth that's being honest surprised that the cops are more hostile and on guard when they're dealing with African Americans in any context? Look, I don't even think the right wing would pretend that isn't the case. I think the right wing would just say, yeah, but they had it coming because, black people are violent, and so that's why cops are naturally more likely to be on guard with them, et cetera. They don't realize that they're owning up to their racism, but that no one thinks, oh, yeah, cops are there, white, black, Latino, they can't tell the difference at all. Look, some now, including and maybe especially on the left, think, bad guys go into this profession in the first place. I remember having arguments with Jimmy Dore about this. And I don't know the psychology of that, and I don't care, and I don't think overall.
When I first got out of the Marine Corps, I applied to become a police officer. When they interviewed me and asked me why I wanted to become a police, I told them, I said, because, I want to, I had brothers, one brother in particular that drugs destroyed his mind. I want to put an end to drugs being in the black community. Well, that didn't fly. Huh? Never, they never called me. Of course, it wasn't meant to be no way. I know now. I mean, you remember when Ronald Reagan was president, they got caught dealing drugs to the black community so they could fund the Contras. Huh? Boy, y'all something. Then you say you say we threatens you? How?
Even if that were true, that would be a minor point. The major point is, what does the system encourage and incentivize? And what does it discourage and disincentivize? So when it says to cops, you can do anything you want to minorities and always get away with it, and, hey, be on guard for these type of people, it encourages this.
Something else I want to say to white people. If you don't want to have black people patrolling black communities and you want to keep white people patrolling it, well, this is something else you can do. You have lots of black judges. You have communities of black people that, you could just tell your officers that if you have a case that is questionable, we're going to let the people that you've been patrolling put you on trial. Now, if you ain't did nothing, you ain't got no business. The last thing you got to worry about is black people ruling against you. They won't even want to patrol the black community there. Anytime a man is a law enforcement person and you filming him doing his job, if he ain't doing nothing, he ain't got no business, He glad you filming him, so can't nobody accuse him. Huh? But if he doing something he ain't got no business, he will do his best to feel uncomfortable about filming him. Unless he already got carte blanche and told him, don't worry, we got you. Like the man said, we got you back. Why ain't he charged with first degree? Like the man said, we got you back. Why ain't he charged with first degree murder? It's right there in front of us. It's right there in front of us. You can't say he didn't mean to kill him. Yes, he did mean to kill him. He stayed on his neck until he died. And even after he was dead, he still stayed on it.
Don't pretend that you're surprised when you see that George Floyd video, because that's the system we built. It was built to do just that. It's not the bug, it's the feature.
I remember once I was looking at one of them slavery movies, and they was sitting around talking about the slaves. The masters was talking about the slaves. And I see him. Now he came from a long line of architects, and that one over there, he was with agriculture. And this one, and he's pointing them out. He said, "Well, look, we didn't bring them over here to be architects, but slaves." Well, first of all, look what the architects built in D.C. The Capitol building was built by slaves, according to y'all. Did you have to tell them how? No. Like I told you, if all you wanted was somebody to do your work, if you could take this country from the Native American, you could have enslaved the Native American. How come you didn't enslave him? It's because when you found him, he was living in tents. You found no pyramids and stuff, no stuff built by him. You saw him living in tents and wearing skins. You lied and say you found us swinging on trees and say you just a damn lie. Now listen to her talk about this same situation.
Much that it's so much embedded in the DNA of this country that a woman at Central Park can say, I'm going to call the police and tell them that an African American is harassing me. It's so much part of the DNA of the country that a white woman will fake crying to the cops because she knows that she can weaponize the police against Black people and it will probably result in violence. That is how how common it is. We see the barbecue Beckys and we see the Central Park Sarahs and we got a long list of them now, but it's because even they know that the police will come faster when it comes to Black people. They will probably be more violent and more aggressive. The other thing that I wanted to address is about when they say that Black people are violent. or that Latinos are violent and marginalized people are violent. Isn't it ironic that the most violent people on the planet, the ones that went over to Africa and kidnapped people, enslaved them for 400 years, built their country on free labor on the backs of these people, the people that go and who raped and pillaged the First Nations people of this country, the people who go abroad and terrorize, as Anna said earlier, that it's happening in the Middle East, it's happened throughout Central America, have the audacity and the gall to classify a group of people who have been subject to their reign their whole lives as violent. I find that a little bit odd.
See, the whole world seeing you now. It's just like with me. What am I standing up here saying that you can classify as hate teaching? But that's what you used to call it when you thought you could get away with it. You say the Muslims teach hate. Where's the hate that you find me teaching? What? I teach the truth. Who is listening to me that say that anything that I'm teaching is not true? Point out what I said that's not true. I'm going to answer that other question for you. The reason you don't follow me is because you're not ready to be righteous. That's the truth. You even got some who say they following me that really ain't following me. They ain't ready. They just want to be in, but they ain't. Like, like I tell you, whenever someone told me something, you see, if you've never been a follower, and I'm talking about if you never learned how to follow, you only dreaming when you think you can lead. How in the world are you going to lead any people if you can't tell when somebody's following and when they're not? And how would you know a follower if you have not really been a follower? In order to know the heart of a follower, you have to have been that. That's what 400 years of slavery was about, was to get the experience. I needed to experience what it's like to be subservient to people, what it's like to be mistreated by someone who had authority over me. Do you understand? If Allah is going to give me authority, then should not I know how to properly exercise that authority? And what better way to learn how to exercise authority than to have been under someone who improperly exercised authority? So I've experienced being afflicted by people who did it simply because. It's just like now, anybody in the Ku Klux Klan, the Nazi Party, or any of these skinheads or whatever, give me a reason why you mistreat us, why you mistreat black people. What did we do to you? It's just like that boy went in there on that lie talking about black men had raped white women and whatnot. When did any black man get the nerve to go rape a white woman? Are you familiar with our history? In order for you to even believe that shows how dense you really are. But you know, when people are leaning towards, you know, children are so easily misled because their mind is empty. Their brain is empty. Their mind is very shallow. As the messenger said, it's easier to make life than it is to remake it. It's just like when you want to, it's easier to build a house from scratch than to rebuild one because you got to tear down before you can rebuild up. Do you understand? And so, I mean, anybody can take a baby and make him into a criminal. If you get him for criminal mind, get him first. Well, you can teach him all kind of lies because you're the only one that he knows. So and him trying to reteach him, that's a job because he trusted what the first teacher told him. And his biggest problem is he never questioned the first teacher. Huh? Man, walk in that church at Dillon Roof. You remember he walked in them black people's church and sit there listening to them having prayer service and whatnot. And then got up and made all them false accusations at them. Telling me, I'm going to kill you because you raped our women and you did all this stuff to us. Ain't nobody did nothing to white people. Certainly not Negroes in America. We ain't did nothing to you. But served you for 400 years. See? How come ain't none of them coming in here telling me what we did to them? Remember now, the whole world listening to me. They watching. They listening. You've been telling people that we some kind of threat to you or whatever. What threat could I possibly be? I don't have no army. I don't have no navy. I ain't got no Air Force. I don't have no Marine Corps. I ain't got no gun factories. I don't make no bombs. I ain't got no bullets. I ain't got nothing. But you got all of them things. How am I a threat to you? So let me tell you, young white boy. Now you heard me say this in front of your daddy and your mama and all of them that's been telling you all them lies and stuff. You ain't gonna be able to blame them because they shut up at me. Whatever you do to my people after this, it's on you. However you thinking after I spoke to you, you're gonna be held accountable for it. Now, if I'm some kind of threat to white people or any people, let me hear what the threat that I am to you. Are we on YouTube? Okay. We on the air up in Detroit. Are we on the air up there, y'all? What's going on? Ain't nobody saying nothing. Act like y'all don't know how to unmute a phone. What? You don't tune in no more on the phone? What? Be texting me. Let the people hear you say something. But anyway, you all you know you're gonna be held accountable for what I stood up here and said to you. Unmute them.
Assalamualaikum. I was just letting you know that yes, sir, you on there and say it.
Okay.
We can hear you.
Look, I'm telling you, you better say something, because the scripture says that if I had not come and spoken unto them, they had not had the knowledge of sin. But now they ain't got no cloak. You hate me all you want. Allah told me, he said, son of man, if the world hates you, you know it hated me before it did you.
Yes, sir, you're on the air in Detroit as well.
Okay. But I'm telling all of you. You know, I've been teaching now for almost 45 years. And I have not missed a meeting that I can remember. You remember me missing a meeting? I don't either. Okay. Now let me show you something else. It's just like you who thought you was coming in here doing your thing and showing disrespect to me. You should have paid attention. In the 5th chapter of the book of John and in the Holy Quran, I mean, you got the whole world now bearing witness to what you've been doing to me and my people over here in the United States. Okay. Like I told you, you don't know how blessed you are to have Joseph Biden as president. You really don't know how blessed you are. So I was about ready to go do something else with you. Oh, let's see here. You don't realize that the Holy Quran tells you that it is a reminder of the Bible, that which came before it. Huh? The Bible refers to the Holy Quran as the book of remembrance. In the book of Malachi, the 3rd chapter, when you remind somebody of something, you bring something to their remembrance, don't you? Okay. The Holy Bible in the book of Malachi, the 3rd chapter and the 16th verse, it says, "Then they that feared the Lord spake often one to another, and the Lord hearkened and heard it. Remembrance was written before him for them that feared the Lord and that thought upon his name." Now let me show you. Over in the book at the 19th verse, it says, "Then answered Jesus and said unto them, Verily, verily, I say unto you," meaning without any doubt in it, I'm saying this to you, "the Son of Man It says the Son can do nothing of himself. When he, the Spirit of truth, is come, he will guide you into all truth, for he shall not speak of himself. Huh? Son of man, go, get thee to the house of Israel and speak with whose words? He said, speak with his words, didn't he? He said, speak with his words, didn't he? The Son can, if he's truly if he's the representative of that court of law, he can't wing it up there. He has to, everything that he makes a judgment has to be in accord with law. Did you hear me? He's not up there to make judgments of himself and start making judgments that ain't rooted no place in law, but just his personal opinion. When the court renders an opinion, it is an opinion based in law, not personal. So it says, the Son can do nothing of himself, but what he seeth the Father do. For what things soever he doeth, these also doeth the Son likewise. For the Father loveth the Son, and showeth him all things that himself doeth. Well, if the Father didn't love me, he wouldn't have delivered all things that was written into my hands. All things are delivered unto me of my Father. And no man knows who the Son is but the Father. This is for all of them hypocrites and liars that come in. You ain't no Son of Man. Jesus the Son of Man. Jesus said, don't no man know who the Son is but the Father. See how quickly they show you that they didn't believe in Jesus. Huh? As he said, if you had known me, you would have known my Father also. I'm the only one that know Jesus. The rest of y'all lying. Ask me to prove it. Come in here and tell me you know Jesus, and I'll prove you lying. I didn't say I'll prove you mistaken. I'll prove you lying. It says, for what? It says, for the Father loveth the Son, and showeth him all things that himself doeth. And he will show him greater works than these, that you may marvel. For as the Father raiseth up the dead, for as the Father giveth understanding to them that wandereth out of the way of understanding, even so the Son giveth understanding to whom he will. Understanding to whom he wills. He quickeneth whom he will. Huh? Yeah. Then it says, for the Father judgeth no man, but hath committed all judgment unto the Son. But hath committed all judgment unto the Son. That all men should do what? Men should do what? That all men should honor the Son, even as they honor the Father. And he that honoreth not the Son, Father which hath sent him. So the Holy Quran, you know what you say to a judge in the courtroom when you getting ready to address him. Even one of the young men who was testifying in the court said, Your Honor, to the district attorney, and he said, No, I'm not that yet. And he said, Well, maybe soon. That's what the witness told him. So, well, maybe soon, something to that effect. But anyway, you don't want to get the judge mad at you. Ain't but one, Your Honor, in that court. You understand? Okay. So, in the 50th chapter of the Holy Quran, it remember now, the Bible says, For the Father judgeth no man, but have committed all judgment unto who? Unto the Son. That all men should honor the Son, even as they honor the Father. And he that honoreth not the Son honoreth not the Father which hath sent him. As he says, Son of man, I do send thee. Huh? Okay. What did the Father say to the Son? All judgment is yours. Cast into hell every ungrateful, rebellious one. What I've been doing? Huh? I even have people text me and ask me, would I please let them out? Huh? You just don't know. This ain't no joke. I told you, I'm not going to be the butt of your joke. Not for long, I won't. Unmute him. You're unmuted, caller. What is it? They still there? What's wrong? You got something in you? Got a frog in your throat?
Man.
Okay. What is it?
Okay, I muted it back. I had been on hold for a bit. I muted it back, but I was looking for with the Quran, the chapter of the Quran.
It was chapter 50. It was chapter 50, verse 24.
Okay, yes, I got it now.
All right.
But I muted it back, though.
Okay, you can mute it back.
Okay, sir.
All right. So as I have said, I done took all I'm gonna take off. I'm gonna start dishing it out. Allah told me what to do. The scripture says that God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For God sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. Well, generally when somebody send you salvation, you should be grateful. You should give thanks. I didn't hear you. Cast into hell every ungrateful, rebellious one. Son of man, they are a rebellious house. That's what Allah told me. He said, the house of Israel not going to hearken unto you. They're not going to hear and obey you. Because they would not hear and obey me, and you speaking what I told you to say. Even coming in here, trying to make it look like I made this up. That's them that won't bring no book in here to follow along with what I'm saying. I'll be quoting what the book say, and then say, well, you say so and so and such and such. I said, I didn't say nothing. I read that to you. Huh? The word of God said it. But they don't believe in the word of God. They done turned the Holy Bible and the Holy Quran into Santa Claus. You know, everybody hollers Santa bringing you this and Santa bringing you that. But in reality, they know there ain't no such a thing as no Santa Claus. I didn't hear you. Well, that's the way they do in church and in the mosque and in all these places that claim to believe in God. Them people don't believe in no God. That's why they upset with me. They done turned religion into a business. Oh, yes, they have. And it's just like, let me show you. One of the believers texted me about something that I played, and obviously they forgot. Who was that? And they texted me about something that I played, and they wanted to know who was that? Huh? Oh, okay. And so I will play it and let you hear it about Farrakhan, Minister Farrakhan. And you know, people think that oftentimes that I be making up something. I don't make up nothing. The scripture says that by your own words you will be justified, and by your own words you will be condemned. Well, when you hear me tell you that a person said this or a person said that, I don't just trust it to my memory. You know, generally, if I say they said it, I can play it back for you. Now let's see here.
It said, brother, seek refuge in Allah from the envier when he envies, and he got seek refuge. I would come to Chicago, but so seeing he looked at me one day at the table when I see, but I had a weak thought. I succumbed to a seat. The twisted and hurt Malcolm was now directed at Brother Fox. The more I became popular, the more intense was the vicious talk about this brother or more. There wasn't a city I went into that I didn't hear what my brother was saying against me, about me, while I worked 18 hours a day for the what my brother was saying against me, about me, while I worked 18 hours a day for the cause of Islam and denied my wife and my children a father for a cause that I believe in. And so Malcolm then in his book become
There's no such thing as you denying your wife and your children a father when you working in the cause of Allah, you being a father. Do you understand? You know, I know he may have meant that in the sense of that he wasn't there like norms in this world where a father go to work and come home and he spend time with his babies and all that kind of, but we're building a nation. That's the best thing a father can do when you're not free, is to be working to building something that he can give to you that will free you and make you independent. Do you understand? You see? But Malcolm had told Farrakhan, he said, Brother Lewis, he said, one day my enemies will be your enemies. And he said, and God is my judge. I wish it was you being an example for me than me being an example for you. Huh? And so you're going to hear him say, so Malcolm's enemies did become his. Then he said, and here's where Brother Farrakhan made a mistake. Now he's talking about himself in the third person. So, but the fact of the matter is, here's where Brother Farrakhan stopped being Brother Farrakhan. Do you understand? He stopped being a brother. And he started thinking that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was jealous of him. So I want you to, if you let Minister Farrakhan hear this, I'll be more than happy to discuss it with him, and I will take it back and pay him $50,000 if he can prove that I'm misrepresenting him in any kind of way. I don't misrepresent people. This ain't the spin room on these news, so-called news platforms. I don't spin things. I can prove what I say. The understanding that I give you, it's the true understanding. What do you think? You think I'm able to explain the word of God, but I can't explain your word? That's why people don't like to talk to me. They don't like to talk to me because they can't talk past me.
Here's where Brother Farrakhan made a mistake. I succumbed to a seed. And I too began to foolishly say, and wonder, could my teacher jealous of me? Why are you saying this, Farrakhan? If their confession is good. But you see, when you tell the truth, you help somebody else to see truth. If the truth is against yourself. I love my leader and teacher, but I had a weak thought that came because my leader was so being with me one day at the table when everybody was praising Farrakhan. He hit the table and said, yes, he's very well known, all right. He hit the table and said, yes, he's very well known, all right. So that when he turns hypocrite on me, the whole world will see him. He hit me like a...
Honorable Elijah Muhammad was jealous of him because the people, the ministers and the laborers was praising Farrakhan, and the messenger hit the table and said, yes, he's very well known, all right. So that when he turns hypocrite on me, the whole world will see him. Hypocrite on me, the whole world will see him. I didn't make that up. You just heard it out of Minister Farrakhan's own mouth. I didn't hear you. Okay. Now, what was the weak thought he had? His teacher is jealous of him. He gonna say it. I began to wonder, is my teacher? No, you wasn't beginning to wonder, is he jealous of you? You thought he was jealous of you. And from that point on, you were no longer the follower that you had professed to be and all of that, because you thought that the messenger was jealous of you. And so you even got decided you was going to one day teach him at the laborers, while the laborers were sitting in the room, you going to teach on envy and jealousy. Aiming that at the messenger, who you thought was jealous of you. Now just listen.
But he saw way down the line, even as Jesus saw Peter's heart. He knew I was going to deny him. He saw it. And he prayed for me. And he told me that I would return. Only because his prayers were found worthy in the sight of Allah. Found worthy in the sight of Allah. I'm finished now.
Actually, the messenger didn't pray that he would return. According to Minister Abdul Karim, Minister Abdul Karim said the messenger didn't pray for him to return. The messenger prayed that he would not go. Huh? You understand? Okay.
Up to 2 months before he left us, around the table were all of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's major ministers. And it was brought up because Elijah Muhammad said, and it was well known in the nation, that one would rise that would make not messenger look like child's play. And everybody was focusing on me.
Now, if everybody was focused after the messenger had said the whole world would see him, right? So who was Farrakhan mad at in his mind? He was mad at the messenger of God. And your evil thought that you entertained about your Lord ruined you. That's what the Holy Quran says. You forgot about all of the good. You wouldn't have even been Minister Farrakhan if it wasn't for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Whatever happened to, well, if he wanted to sit you down or take it from you, the Lord gave, and the Lord can do what? Can take it away. It's just like when the President of the United States, he can promote people to general, or he can take general away from them. Is that right? But you ain't got nothing to say about that. Job was your example. Satan was the one that thought that as long as God was blessing you, you're going to be loyal to him. But the minute he take it from you, you'll cuss him out. Huh? Well, we see that's not far from the truth, what Satan was saying about some of us, huh? No? Let's see what else Minister Farrakhan said. Now, he's sitting around the table now. Now, he said that everybody was focusing on Farrakhan, right? But on him because of what the messenger had said, huh? Now watch this.
And I was catching hell from one end of this country to another, but I never paid it no attention. When people spoke evil of me, I doubled the good that I would do. And the messenger said to me one day, he said, brother, they speak awful things about you, brother, but you something like myself. You don't pay no attention to it, you keep on doing myself. You don't pay no attention to it, you keep on doing good.
What? I tell you what he was thinking. You're telling me this, but you the one who said, brother, they speak awful things about you, brother, but you something like myself. You don't pay no attention to it. You just keep on doing good. But Farrakhan, he didn't want to hear that coming from the messenger because he thought the messenger was jealous of him. and that he's the one that set this stuff in motion by them. Everybody was focusing on Farrakhan being a hypocrite. But the fact of the matter is, Farrakhan, instead of asking the messenger what could he do to avoid becoming that, he got angry and attributed it to the messenger being jealous of him. Even when Malcolm thought that the messenger was jealous of him, and that's why he set him down and that kind of thing, Malcolm was telling Farrakhan, I wish it was you being an example for me instead of me being an example for you. Huh? Malcolm must have knew something that he hadn't told nobody, huh? But anyway, let's go further.
Finally, I began to pray. And I decided I would come to Chicago and gather all the national laborers around and have it out. You see the Muhammad City newspaper? When Malcolm was doing great things for the nation, the New York Malcolm was doing great things for the nation, the New York Times would report it, the Chicago Tribune would report it, but the paper, his own paper, his reported, the Chicago Tribune would report it, but the paper, his own paper, his national newspaper, wouldn't have nothing to say about it. I began to see the same pattern develop with me.
The people to the messenger. People to the messenger. See? He was upset with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He wanted praise that didn't belong to him. You understand? See, and he's telling on himself right there. When I say something that you think is erroneous, you can raise your hand. I'll let you say something about it. Well, I don't know where you think you at. But I was a follower of the messenger. I wasn't trying to get people to praise me. I wouldn't even been doing what I was doing if it hadn't been for him. I know what I was doing before I started following the messenger. I was doing zero. Living from day to day. You notice, we used to run up and down the street. Hey, man, what's going on? We didn't ever know what was going on. Looking for something to get into because we didn't have nothing to do. That all changed when I accepted Islam. When I accepted Islam as was taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I received from him an aim and a purpose for living. And that was to serve my people and to help him to do what Allah sent him to do. And whatever he wanted me to do, that's what I was ready to do. Because I believed he was God's messenger. I never did think too much of them disciples of Jesus. When I read about how they acted, I said, boy, them people were sorry. All that good that Jesus had did for them and whatnot, and they all ran out on him. Even Peter. So anyway, let's listen. Now watch when he's sitting at the messenger's table and call yourself gonna chastise somebody. You ask my followers, I ain't never let my followers sit up in front of me, call themselves chastising some other followers. Huh? You won't be chastising my followers. You tell me, and I will do that. My daddy didn't let us, my older brother was approximately 12 or 13 years older than me. But he couldn't give me no whipping. In the first place, I wasn't going to take no whipping from him. That's the first thing. You know, I don't care how old you is. You ain't nobody whip me. What's wrong with you? Daddy do the whipping, right? Okay. Well, that's the first thing you learn is that when you are a subordinate and you are sitting in the presence of a superior officer or someone who is over you, it's not your place to chastise nobody. It's the one who's over everybody. That's his place to do that. You tell him and let him address it. Do you understand? Now listen to Farrakhan talking about what he was doing at the messenger's table.
Big newspaper, when Malcolm was doing great things for the nation, the New York Times would report it, the Chicago Tribune would report it, but the paper, his own paper, his national newspaper, wouldn't have nothing to say about it. I begin to see the same pattern develop with me. Nothing to say about it. I begin to see the same pattern develop with me. I said, man, what is this? And you see how I said, man, what is this? And you see how seed is developing? So now I get ready to fight at the messenger's table. I never was
Seed that was developed. One that Malcolm planted in his head. One day, my enemies will be your enemies. And that seed started developing. He started thinking back what Malcolm said. And instead of my enemies will be your enemies. And that seed started developing. He started thinking back what Malcolm said. And instead of him getting the lesson from it, he became the same thing Malcolm became. He became a hypocrite. Now listen.
around and have it out. You see the Muhammad Speak newspaper? When Malcolm was doing great things for the New York Times would report it, the Chicago Tribune would report it, but the paper, his own paper, his national newspaper, wouldn't have nothing to say. But the paper, his own paper, his national newspaper, wouldn't have nothing to say about it. I begin to see the same pattern develop with me. I begin to see the same pattern develop with me. I said, man, what is this? And you can see how seed is developing? So now I get ready to fight at the messenger's table. I never will forget it. All the national ravers around, I'm bringing it up about envy and jealousy. National ravers around, I'm bringing it up about envy and jealousy and how it destroys from within. And the messenger knew what I was getting ready to get into. He hit the table with his hand. Boom! And said, brother, seek refuge in Allah and the envy. When he envied, then he got up and he walked out of the room. Boom!
Hadn't he?
Table with his hand. Boom! And said, brother, seek refuge in Allah from the envy. When he envied, then he got up and he walked out of the room. Boom!
With his own mouth said he just, with his own, that the paper should have been writing about the good, but it wasn't. It was only focused on the messenger. So he was envious of the messenger. When the messenger hit the table and said, I seek refuge, he didn't say seek refuge. He didn't tell him that. The messenger said, I seek refuge from the envier when he envies. And Farrakhan was sitting up at the messenger's table, called himself chastising followers that were not his. Who is he that judgeth another man's servants? Huh? How many times have I said to believers, you ain't nobody's judge. You don't judge your brother or sister. They're not following you. You don't know enough about their history to be calling yourself coming in here judging people. They got a song in church that says, please be patient with me. God's not through with me yet. You may go to the hospital and see somebody that's really look bad off to you. You say, oh, I don't believe they're going to make it. And the doctor may be seeing progress. The doctor may be thinking, whoa, that's you right where I want you to be. You're right. You're going to be all right. Now you sitting up there telling me, you don't look like you're going to be all right. How would you know? You ain't the doctor. You know, any of you all that have been around me and made a judgment about another believer, you know I'm quick to correct you on that. Huh? Judge not that what? That you be not judged. Don't never try to judge someone else's servant, because that's not in your purview. Now, he's sitting there upset because they ain't writing about him in the paper. That paper was called Muhammad Speaks. And it was called Muhammad Speaks because it was another means of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad reaching the people that he was here to reach. And you were supposed to be helping him. Not trying to get the people to have faith in you. Even the messenger, he said, I'm not trying to get you to believe and worship me up. He said, but I'm trying to get you to believe and worship him whom I preach to you. And you didn't even know that. He was preaching the word of God to you. I am the word of God. You run around here talking about Master Farad Muhammad. He already told you I don't expect him to return. He told you that. Who was he looking for? He was looking for the Son of Man who was dead. And that was me. But I'm not dead no more. I'm alive more and more and more. I listen to him. Watch what the messenger tells. Now, you notice there's 4 corners to a room or to a building, generally. Okay. So, and they build buildings with pieces of wood, right? Generally, houses are built with wood frames, right? Okay, let's see here.
Thing. I was ready to fight. He took the fight out of me. Then 5 minutes later, he came back, and these are the words that he said. He said, brother, when you're getting ready to put a piece of board in the corner of the building to uphold the weight of the building, you have to put stress on it. And if it weakens under that stress, the board you were looking for, so you throw it away and you throw it away and you get another.
He didn't say nothing about putting no stone. He said a board. When you're trying to put a board, when you're looking for a board to put up under the corner of the building to uphold the weight of the corner, you have to put stress on it. And if it weakens under that stress, you throw it away and you get another. What did he do with Malcolm? Threw him away and he got another board, right? And that was Farrakhan. And then he weakened. Now, another place, the messenger said that if you have a stone that you want to build on, get one that won't crack if you put other stones on it. He says, one brother come in and talk about the messenger said, I cracked Farrakhan. I cracked Farrakhan. And he thought he was saying something wise, meaning that Farrakhan, he opened him up and this is, he's the one that's supposed to be doing something. But no, the messenger said, get a stone that won't crack if you put other stones on it. You notice when Farrakhan had his chance in 1975 to stand up to WD, and all of them that would stand up there lying, talking about the messenger had chose Wallace, Farrakhan caved and cracked under pressure. Huh? He didn't stay together. He pledged his allegiance to W.D. Muhammad and then got up there and lied with the rest of them. Talking about the messenger promised him. He said Allah promised him a son. And then he talking about he pledged all that was within him to W.D. Muhammad to help this son of the messenger. He lying. They knew they chose W.D. Muhammad and the messenger ain't had nothing to do with that. The messenger had already said, ain't nobody coming behind me but God. I better tell you that. And he told you that that God would be one of us. Now, if I'm not that grantor of dominion, let me see you come in here with some wisdom that will grant you dominion over me. Come on. So, Minister Farrakhan, he even said, I didn't know what he meant then. Well, to show you how that's what happens when you start thinking crazy about God's messenger. Reason he didn't know what he meant because he's too busy being angry with the messenger and thinking that the messenger was jealous of him. And when he started thinking like that, he didn't pay no attention to nothing that came out the messenger's mouth. So, let me say this to all of you all. That's my followers and that are not. Look, when you meet somebody that claims to be following me, the quickest way to find out if you've really met someone who's following me is when you offer them correction from me. See how they act. That tell you everything you need to know. You understand? You see? You know, so don't be fooled by love talking. If they love me, they would do what I say. If you love me, do what? Keep my commandments. Enough arguing going on when you tell somebody, you know, the Son of Man said such and so and such and so and so. They say, well, I'm going to do something. Well, you do it your way. I ain't finna argue with you. Let them go. We must rid the earth of open and secret enemies. Didn't the messenger say that? All right, then. So I'm teaching you how to see everybody. It's like a man tell you he loves the United States and hates the Constitution. You're a damn fool. Who you think you fooling? You up there trying to overthrow the government that been around here for 200 years. And because you lost an election, you there trying to overthrow the government to install a dictator while claiming that you are a patriot. And basing your foolishness on the lie that there was some fraud, and then every time you got a chance to show what the fraud was, you didn't show nothing. You lying devil. Yeah. You used to get away with talking about what you was going to do to me because you had an excuse. Your excuse was, I hadn't taught you enough for you to recognize who I am. But you ain't got that excuse no more. I've been teaching too long and showing you too many things to prove that I'm the one that the Holy Scriptures told you was coming to judge the world. And now you're going to answer for your disrespect of me. So Anybody got something they want to say to me before I let you go? It's late. I'm not going to hold you. It's Wednesday. You know, one of these days I'll tell you about some of these meanings of these days of the week. But anyway, but we're gonna leave it for now. Ain't it nice to know that things that we thought wasn't nothing turned out to be plenty? Didn't the messenger tell you that the black man could bring light out of darkness? Didn't he tell you that? You notice when the book says God came from Teman, from the terrestrial man, we're the only man on the earth that's terrestrial man. We came out of the earth. We didn't come from semen. I didn't hear you. Well, who is God? The one that the word was with. In the beginning was what? And who was the word with? The terrestrial man. I didn't hear you. So where did language come from? The terrestrial man. Is that right? The first one. Yes. And you know how we are. Others, yeah, you see people trying to do that with me right now. I'll teach them something. The next thing you know, they back in here saying, well, could this have meant this and this? Everybody wants to try to be the creator. I didn't hear you. You're going to wish you had humbled yourself. You know, your mind is deceiving you. The scripture said, for this cause, God shall send them strong delusion that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned, who believed not. Believe not what? Whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. He that believeth not on the Son is condemned already. Condemned to what? God said, I will send them strong delusion. I didn't hear it. Yeah. That they'll believe a lie. See, when something happens to you, you shouldn't use your own judgment about it. You should ask me what about it. For you ain't experienced nothing I have not experienced. And if I hadn't experienced it, I soon will. But when you think you know something that I don't know, then you deceived yourself. My God talking to you. Allah don't talk to nobody but through me. And you think how you think whatever you want. You got people that used to say that. They said that about every messenger. I just don't believe in him no more. I believe in Allah. Well, the messenger already said, whoever don't believe in Allah's messenger, even though they say they believe in Allah, they lying. They're hypocrites. They become enemies of Allah. Because that's Allah in that messenger. Do you understand? You know, be sitting up wishing that I was dead or something. I ain't, but you crazy. You're just crazy. Yeah. Okay. Well, see, I try my best to offer correction to everybody that needs it. So I'm offering it. Ain't my fault because you wouldn't listen. Whose fault is that? It's whoever fault wouldn't listen, huh? Okay. So it's late. And the brother sent me a text and said, well, you got 3 hours. 3 minutes. So we've been here 3 hours. But like I said, you notice, I'm waiting on the other shoe to fall with the district attorney up there to bring that man in there that say Derek Chauvin knew George Floyd and something else was going on there. Huh? Ask Derek Chauvin What did George Floyd mean when he kept saying, "I'm sorry" to you? Did y'all know each other? Yeah, they knew each other. Which puts all of that into a whole new light. Derek Chauvin intended to kill George Floyd. He intended to kill him. And he did. I'm going to let you hear this other young man talk about how when you shimmy, it helps to close the airway even more. And he saw Derek Chauvin on the man's neck quite a few times to make sure that he was killing him. So, all right. Now, white people. This is your opportunity. This is your a time to kill moment. You remember what McConaughey, was it the man McConaughey said in the time to kill? He told them when there was that little black girl that was being raped and urinated on and used as target practice for beer cans that was still full. He told them to close their eyes and imagine that happening. And then he said, now, imagine that she was white. Imagine that George Floyd was a white man and a black officer had his knee on his neck and some other ones was helping to hold him down until they choked the life out of him. What would be your verdict then? Let me let y'all go. So, like I said, I ain't got nothing special against skin. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers of the darkness of this world and spiritual wickedness in positions of power. So, you got a chance to do right. You got a chance to do unto us as you would like done unto you. So, if there are no questions or no arguments or statements, then I'm going to dismiss you now. May Allah bless us all and who are hungry or hunger and thirst after his righteousness. May he bless us and keep us safe and in our right minds. And grant to each and every one of us a peaceful and pleasant night's rest and sleep, and a happy, peaceful, and pleasant morning's rise. May Allah's salam alaikum.